Today we'll look at the asset configuration. I'm right now in SPRO, and to get into the asset configuration section, you have to go, either you can use the old GL or new GL. Pretty much it should be the same. Let's go look at the new GL. You can go into the asset accounting, and then always stay in the asset accounting lean implementation. You don't have to there is an extended section, and there's also a lean section. It means you can always, if you're pretty new to assets and if you don't know how to navigate, you can stick right there in the asset accounting lean implementation. Okay, so you don't have to kind of get in this extended configuration. And I'm going to go into asset accounting lean, and then go into the organization structures. The very first thing in the asset accounting is the charter depreciation, as you've seen in the presentation. As we have seen in the presentation, every asset class is assigned to a charter depreciation. Charter depreciation has depreciation areas, and you assign company codes to charter depreciation. So charter depreciation is at the very high end of the organization structure. If I flip back to the, there are a lot of standard delivered charter depreciations that already come with SAP, such as 1 DE is for Germany, and 1 US is for US, and 1 CA is for Canada. So these are standard delivered chart depreciation, but you can always take an existing one and copy the chart depreciation to a custom one. So I'm just going to kind of look at the 1DE, how it looks. And in 1DE, I have, as you can see, that in the chart depreciations, you have depreciation areas, right? So typically the standard thumb of rule is you just maintain 3: book, tax, and group. In this case, there are more than that. Actually, there is a book here, and there is a tax. Not sure why there isn't a group here. Right? Must be these ones must be like they probably defined as a group. And you can click on the book depreciation and go into the details here, and this is set up as a real depreciation area, and this area posts to GL in real time. So whenever you depreciate this area, the depreciation amount gets posted to the GL in real time. And also there are some other value maintenance, acquisition value, only maintain positive dollars, positive amounts, or negative amounts. You can say what is the acquisition value, what is the net book value, what is the revaluation, what is the ordinary depreciation, special depreciation, unplanned depreciation. How do you want to maintain these values are maintained here? Okay. And it's pretty basic settings. Same thing, you can kind of review the tax, for example, here. See, you can say this is 0, so this really does not post to GL. So it just maintains a value right in the assets, but does not post to the GL for the depreciation. And then now, once you create the depreciation, you have to assign the chart depreciation to the company code. So our company code was 1000. Right, 1000 now is assigned to 1D. You can always change it to 1 US, whatever company code. So if you have your own company code, for example, let's say you create a company code, let's say 1400, and you can assign, let's say 1 US, something like that. So you are assigning chart depreciation to the company code that you have created. Okay? I'm not going to save that. Okay? And then right now you can go into the depreciation areas. Define which depreciation area is which. There are many depreciation types. There is ordinary, there is special, there is unplanned, there is transfer, there is interest, and then there is evaluation. So for ordinary depreciation, we seeing that the O1 is been defined as book depreciation, and this is marked as ordinary depreciation. This is a regular traditional depreciation area. Okay. There are many others. There are special, there are planned, there are unplanned. So you have to kind of define which are allowed for which depreciation types. If you have any question on these things, you can always Google what is an ordinary depreciation, what is a special depreciation, what is an unplanned depreciation. They're all basic accounting terms that you can always go to Google and find out and kind of read more about why and when these depreciations are done. Okay? And the next thing comes is the asset classes. You can see in this picture right here the asset classes. Asset classes are at the very higher level, and then comes the chart depreciation and the depreciation area. So we have created a chart depreciation, and we look at how to create the depreciation areas, but we haven't really gone down into each of the depreciation areas and see the depreciation keys and those things. So let's look at the asset classes, how those are created. Okay. We can go directly here, copy asset classes from reference. So these are all the existing asset classes. For the asset that we are looking at, let's say, for example, this is the company code 1000. I'm looking at asset 1000 here. The asset class for this thing is 1000. Okay, so let's go look at asset class 1000. That's real estate, and I will click right here. So for this asset class, the account determination procedure is 10,000, and the screen layout for this is 1000. That means whenever you create an asset with this asset class, it's going to use this particular screen layout. So if I'm going here, for example, go to assets, create an asset, and let's say if I'm copying this asset into my new asset, so the screen layout for this thing, what fields do you see and what fields you don't see, and what is kind of switched off, and what tabs do you see. All those things are maintained by this something called screen layout. Okay? So anytime you create an asset, you create using a reference asset class, and that asset class has an account determination procedure and a screen layout and a number range. Number range means this O1 number range. Any asset that you create would be created in this particular number range. Okay. And this is the kind of an indicator what type of asset this particular thing is: real estate, property, or buildings, or you can just say other assets. So when you create an asset, you use an asset class, and asset classes are defined right here. You can create your own custom asset class. You can take an existing asset class. Let's say I'm just going to create 10001, copy it. I'm just going to create 10001, and I can say just estate class, something like that. And I'm just going to keep everything the same. So now I have a new asset class called 1001. So when I'm actually creating an asset right here, okay, so I can always create now. Now I'm creating without reference to an asset, but I'm creating in the asset class for company code 1000. Okay, well, I mean, I still have not assigned some values there. So let's go back to asset class 1000, asset 1000, and company code 1000. So still the initial configuration. Still just we have to really assign the asset classes to a lot of other configurations. So right now I'm just going to use the asset class 1000, and the screen layouts here depends on the screen layout that you have chosen. Okay. I still have not saved this thing. That's why it did allow me. So I still have to save it and actually create it, because 101 at that point of time did not exist. I still have the classes, and then 101 now, and then now I can create the default values in the asset class. What are my depreciation terms? For example, this is my thing, and then I go into depreciation areas. So what are the default values for each of for book depreciation, what it should be my depreciation key for the depreciation area O3. What should be the depreciation? You can put in the default value. So right now it looks like this has not been set correctly. And also, what is the screen layout that you need to use for each of those depreciation areas? Look at something else. Okay. Yeah, this has been set correctly here. No, it is not. Yeah, always 000 means it's really not depreciating anything, right? It is kind of an asset under construction. Depreciation keys usually start with these are like the rules, the formulas, how you want to depreciate. 000 means it's really not depreciating anything. So typically use like a double declining balance, triple declining balance, straight line. Use like the kind of different formulas to kind of say that depreciation area will use that depreciation key. 000 means it's not depreciable at that point. Okay. And then you have to assign the GL accounts. So for every asset class, there is a automatic account determination procedure. So for us, for the 1DE, we know that it's going to be chart of account 1 INT. Now I'm going to go into balance sheet accounts. First automatic account determination procedure. I know it's going to be the 10,000. That's my automatic account determination procedure. We just start. I was assigned to the asset class. And now I'm going to click on the balance sheet accounts. And for depreciation area, these are the GL accounts that system automatically derives when you make a posting. So let's say if I go back here, I've created an asset in the asset class. I know my asset 1000 kind of has been deactivated. But if I go back and may go to postings, acquisition, with a vendor, and if I do a 70 and put in my asset 1000, it's going to derive a GL account behind the scenes because now this is an asset, right? This is not a GL account at this point. So asset has a link to a GL account. So where do you want me to post this acquisition value? So the acquisition value it's going to get posted is 1000. So behind the scenes, the system derives the GL account based on the configuration in this screen. So if I'm doing acquisition, it's going to post to 1000 account. If I'm doing a contra account for acquisition value, it's going to post to that account. If I'm doing an acquisition from an affiliate company, it's going to go to that account. If I retire an asset with a loss, it's going to go to that account. If I'm retiring an asset with a clearing account, it's going to go to that. If I'm retiring an asset for a gain, it's going to go to that account. So for different types of activities, the system is going to post to different types of GL accounts, and this is all defined here in the specified GL accounts, and you have to, for each asset class, as we looked at, okay, for each asset class, there is a automatic account determination procedure, and I come back here and then go look up that particular procedure. This is going to be this, and I go into balance sheets, I go into my depreciation areas, and I find my GL accounts. Okay? That's how I make the connection. And there are some other values, such as I can go into valuation, assign accounts. I think I'm going to get to the same place as we looked at. And this is mostly for the asset data transfer, and that's it. Okay, so I'm kind of done with the assets, the organization structure. I think I'm kind of done with this special valuations. So I can actually go back, really do like a deep down into depreciations here, determine the depreciation areas. So now I'm in depreciation area 01, which already defined when it's part of the my chart depreciation 1DE. Now I can look at, say, now this is going to be only negative value. This is like the, I'm defining how my depreciation area O1 is going to be set up. Now I now look at the screen layouts we saw in the asset class. We assigned the automatic account determination procedure, and we also assigned screen layouts. To look at the screen layouts, you have to come into asset accounting. We need to come into master data, screen layouts, define screen layouts for asset master data, and click on define screen layouts. We know that we have assigned 1000. Our class was 1000. We assigned screen layout 1000, and 10,000 was our automatic account determination procedures. So click on the layout, click on the groups, and there are multiple tabs within the class, right? So click on the general data and go back to field groups. So when you're creating an asset in asset class 1000 that uses the screen layout 1000, and these are all the fields, and you can say, is it required, is it optional, is it display only, and can you actually, when you copy this asset to another asset, is it copyable? So typically same as any other thing, required, optional, or not required, or display only. Where do these things come from? These things come from when you actually create an asset, right? Go back here, exit, and then postings, create, okay. So the description, the main asset main text, automatic account determination procedure. So all these things are in the general tab, right? So the general tab right here, general data, defines all these different elements. So you can kind of choose to required. Obviously description is a required field, description 2 is an optional field, asset account allocation is a required field, and everything else is an optional field. And inventory number in this case choose to be not required fields. So that's how the connection is made to the screen layouts. And next thing is the transaction types. As you can see, when we were actually creating a posting, acquisition, then acquisition with a vendor, right, there is a field called transaction type. So when I do a 70 and 1000 asset, it's going to ask me what kind of a transaction is this. So we always been putting external acquisition 1000. So this is a transaction type for that particular post. It kind of gives me more granularity. So how do you define, or how do you create those things, right? Those are created right here in the asset accounting, transactions, acquisitions, retirement, transfers. So all these things are different transactions. So I can go into acquisitions, define transaction types. I can go into define transaction types of acquisition, and there you go. This is our 100. So external. So I can always, if I have a custom one, I can always copy. But there are a lot of standard delivered SAP ones. I mean, too many. So you never really have to create your own custom ones until you really know exactly what you're doing. So this is my 100, and I click on the details. So it's saying that if I'm acquiring a transaction type 100, this is a debit transaction, means the assets are going to go up, and these are for capitalization of fixed assets. The document type for this thing is going to be AA that I'm going to be creating, and the posting type is going to be postnet and do not post affiliate companies, and my consolidated transaction type is 120. This only comes in for your group consolidations when you're when you do your balance sheet consolidation, this is going to go up for your group consolidations. Okay, that's how these things will stack up and go. Okay, for retirements, we have used 200, right? For retirements, we know that we use 200. So if I'm clicking on retirements, 200, click here. It's going to be deactivate fixed asset after retire. You make a postings in document type AA. You repay the investment type. Acquisition is the same year, and also you can say what is the consolidation transaction type for each other. So all of the transaction types already created. It's a good thing about assets is a lot of the configuration comes standard. You don't have to really do much. Everything gets really assigned. So all you really have to do is create your company code, assign the 1D or 1US to your company code, and it should work technically. And you have to go back and do your automatic account determination procedures. That's all there is to it, because all these things have been derived and they come standard configured delivered to you, all the transaction types to you. The last one that I want to show you is the depreciation key. You know, at the very top, we created the depreciation area, and we assign depreciation key to the depreciation area. In one of the examples we saw was we assigned 000. Means there is no depreciation required. So where are those things? If depreciation keys are defined right here. I'm going to asset accounting. I'm going to valuation methods, depreciation key. There are many types of calculation methods defined right here. So I go into base depreciation methods. So this is basically ordinary sum of years digits. So I click on the very first one. This kind of defines how that particular depreciation area is being defined. Let's go look at all of them. So we go to maintain depreciation key. So you can see there are a whole bunch of depreciation keys that are assigned, right? So 000 means there is no depreciation and no interest. And look at the calculation method for these things. So the base method is 0002, means this is an ordinary depreciation, and it's gonna do a double declining method, means even though it's assigning 001, it's going to be all 000. There is nothing calculated assigned to that particular depreciation key. Let's go back and see if for let's say this one, double declining. So this pretty let's go look at the straight line method. Let's go look at the straight line method, and let's go look at the calculation methods here. So now what this is saying is using the straight line method, it's going to be using the class straight line depreciation, and it's going to use the base method 004 for ordinary explicit percentage, and it's saying that it needs to be a multi method with a 2% straight line depreciation method. So these are all the details of how that system actually calculates the depreciation key. And you take this depreciation key using a straight line method. Now look at where is the depreciation key assigned to the depreciation key, right? Depreciation key assigned to the depreciation here. So go to the enter default values for asset classes. Go to default values for depreciation terms, and pick up the asset class that you're looking for. See here, these are all the depreciation areas assigned to the chart depreciation for this particular asset class, and now it's all 00. But you can always assign, say this is going to be a real estate, and it's going to follow a straight line depreciation method. Okay, and you can always go ahead and save it. That's how we assign the depreciation key, okay, to a depreciation area, and this is assigned to a chart depreciation and tied to an asset class. And now any asset that's created in 1000, okay, will follow these principles, and we actually seen how the depreciation key GL20 is defined and works. We're also seen the screen layout for this particular asset class. So this kind of ties everything kind of together for the assets. So the key really is create a chart depreciation, assign chart depreciation to the company code, create your own asset classes, okay, and then go define how your asset classes are going to be performing. Basically, it has account determination procedure, it has screen layouts, and we have to look at how we assign the screen layouts, and then come back to the next step, assign that default values for that asset classes, and assign the depreciation key to the depreciation areas, and hopefully everything will work. Okay? And that kind of summarizes the assets. So stay in this particular area, go into asset accounting, financial accounting, new or old, doesn't matter, and then just stay in this lean implementation method, and you should be able to configure some basic asset configuration.